Hi everyone, my name is Shannon and I'm so excited to be back with you for week 3 of Arts and Crafts with Kids Up Front. Today we are going to be making an abstract art project on canvas using paint that you can hang in your home or in your room, and I'm going to show you our materials and then we can get started right away. The materials we are going to need for this project are a canvas, paint. I have the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and then white and black. We will also need some masking tape, a piece of paper, and a Sharpie to do our stencil. The scissors is to cut our stencil out, and then just a few general painting supplies. So we have a cup of water, a paper towel, and a couple of paper plates that we can mix and put our paint on. I have just a scrap piece of cardstock and a Sharpie. It is almost the same size as my canvas, and I'm going to make my stencil on here. So for this project, I'm going to make a heart. You can make any shape you like. You could do the letter of your first name. You could do a star, any sort of thing. Even a word would be really cool. I'm just going to do a heart just for simplicity's sake, but feel free to do whatever you'd like. So I'm just going to freehand a heart. Remember, you can do any shape you would like. I think even like your first initial would look really cool. So I have my heart and now I need to cut it out. So I'm going to cut along my line, and to fold it and just cut into the heart, you're going to be using this outside part as your stencil. So I'm going to just cut it out and then I will be ready to go. All right, I have my stencil. So now I'm going to put it onto my canvas, and I am going to tape it along the sides just so that it does not move. So I'll use my masking tape for that. So you can make sure that it's centered, it's exactly where you want it to be, and the masking tape won't damage the canvas at all. Depending on what you chose as your stencil as well, you might have to add tape in a few more places, but this is just going to make sure that your stencil does not move and wreck your design. One of the things that I love about using paint is that you really don't need very many colors. You can make any color you can think of using just these 5 kinds of paint. I've got my 3 primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue, and then I have white and black. And mixing these colors in any way will make any color that you'd like. So as we're going through, I'll show you some different ways to make different colors. This is something that I do in my job every year as a grade 1 teacher, as creating color is one of our big science units, and it's one of my favorite things to do with my students because they are so surprised and they have so much fun when they can create new colors. So we are going to get started by putting some paint onto our palette. You don't need very much to start. You don't want to waste your paint, so you can always add more on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit, maybe even dime size of paint onto my plates, and I'm going to spread them out on the outside of my plates so I have room to mix. So I'm going to add just a little bit of each color of paint around the outside of my plate, and just like dime size. You don't need very much to start, because you can always add more and you don't want to waste your paint. So I've got some yellow, some blue, I'll add some red. And like I said before, these are our primary colors. They're what all the other colors are made out of in some degree. I'm also going to add some white. And you always need a little bit more white than you expect. So if your dot of white is a little bit more, that's okay. And then I am going to add some black. And you never need very much black because it's a very strong color and it can overtake all of your other paint very quickly. So just be careful of that. So I am going to also have my cup of water and my paper towel just to keep things clean in between colors. The first color that I want to make is pink. I'm going to go for kind of a pastel color vibe here for my art. So I will take some white. You always want to move your lightest color first onto the plate so that it doesn't get mixed up with all the other ones. clean off my brush just so I'm not mixing my main colors. I always tell my students to tap, tap, tap 3 times to get it nice and clean. And then I'm going to start just by adding a little bit of red. And you can always add more color as you go, but it's harder to take color out. Okay, so I've got this kind of pastel-y pink color, and I think that looks good. So pink is made by mixing red and white. I'm actually going to need a little bit more paint, so I'm just going to add some more white and then some more red and mix just to get the color that I want, and that looks good. Now because you're mixing colors, you kind of have to go a little bit quickly so the paint doesn't dry. So once I've made a color and I like it, I'm going to add it onto my canvas. Because of the abstract nature of our art project, I will show you what to do with the paint now. So basically what you're going to be doing is you are going to be putting blobs of paint on the top of your stencil. So pretty thick on there because it's going to be moved down, and it's abstract, so it can go wherever you want. I'm going to kind of have pink in these spots, and you can just hold your stencil down with your finger so that it doesn't get too underneath. So I think that's about how much pink I want to start. Maybe I'll add a little bit more just down here in little dots, but I'm also kind of running out, so I can always make more, and if it's a slightly different color of pink, that's no big deal. So I've added my pink. I'm gonna clean my brush, and now I'm going to make some purple. Purple can be made with blue and red, and because I want it to be more of a pastel color, I will add some white as well. So swish it around and then tap, tap, tap on your paper towel. So I'm going to try and make the purple color first, and then I'll use the white to lighten it up. So as you can see here, that's pretty blue. I need some more red in my paint. So I just like to clean my brush in between each one, just so I'm not mixing up the colors. But just tap, tap, tap to get off the excess water. And I will add in some more red. There we go, that's getting more of a purpley color. That looks awesome. Just really mix it all in there, and I can add just a little bit of white to make it more of a pastel color. What we're going to end up doing with this is we're going to use a card or a piece of your cardstock from your stencil to pull the color down. So you kind of want to pick colors that are going to be complementary of each other so that it won't just turn brown. But if you're going for a brown, that's totally fine too. This is very much a trust the process kind of project. You won't get to see what it actually looks like until you're finished. But here's the cool thing about canvases is if you try it out and you hate it, you can always paint it over completely and try again. Now I want to see if this is going to work the way that I'm expecting it to. So I'm going to use an old gift card and I'm going to pull the paint down. So I'll show you how to do that now. So I just have this old gift card that I am going to use to pull down the paint. If you don't have an old gift card, you can use the piece of the stencil that you cut out. That will work just the same. It's gonna add a little bit more color. I want a light blue color. kind of a sky blue. And then we'll pull it down and see how it's looking so far. I'm just gonna fill in around here. And we'll give this a try. This is a new technique that I haven't used before, but I thought it looked really cool when I looked online at it. So if this is a success, I might have to try it out with my students. So this is what I have so far. It's looking kind of like fingerprints. I'm going to use my gift card to pull the paint down just like this. Oh, that looks awesome. And I'm just going to keep pulling it. And it's really important that you hold the stencil down so that it doesn't bleed at all onto your other art. And this is exactly what I was hoping for, so I'm really happy about that. If you pull it from different directions, you could try going this way. It would add some detail. And if you're finding that you kind of ran out of paint, which I'm kind of thinking I did just a little bit, I can go over it with another layer, which I think is what I'm going to do. So this will just be my base layer, test it out, check out this technique, make sure it's working, and I think it is. And then I can add another layer on top. And I'm thinking, because you can see there's some kind of marbling and stuff, but it's looking a little plain, a little bland. So I might try some more vibrant colors this time. So I'm going to put some, and this time I'm going to put it at the bottom and I'm going to pull it upwards. Give that a try. Because it's abstract art and it's your design, you can kind of do whatever you want. So this is kind of a fun experiment to try. And it's really one of those trust the process, because it might look like a hot mess right now, but when it's all said and done, it'll look pretty neat. I think I'm also going to add just some plain white right onto my canvas. So I'm just going to take my paint and put it directly onto the canvas, just little dots of it wherever I see fit. I think adding some more layers, making it thicker, will really add to this project. So I'm going to add that on, and then we're going to do another pull and just see what happens. I think adding the white into it will make it pop a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to use my gift card again. You're going to pull it. Ooh, that white really spread. Okay. Now feel free to just experiment with whatever you'd like to do. It's whatever you'd like. All right, I'm going to use this purple color that I had before because I really liked it. Have you added your favorite color yet? If you're not really sure on how to decide what kind of colors you can use, you can go full rainbow, full all different colors, Or you could go kind of more the route that I'm trying to go now that I have a vision in my head of what I'd like to do, and using just a color palette. So my plan is to make with cool colors. So our cool colors are things like blues, purples, some light greens like teals are considered cool colors. And then warm colors are colors like reds, yellows, and oranges. And it's an easy way to remember because cool colors are cool, like snow, and warm colors are things that are usually hot. Fire, the sun, things like that. So I'm going more the cool color route, and that's perfectly fine. It's all about experimenting, trying your creativity. Doesn't matter how it turns out, it's the process that's lots of fun and will give you some time to just be creative. So even though this isn't really exactly how I wanted it to turn out, I'm still doing my very best to try and put it into something that I can be proud of. So I'm going to try adding some white again, just a little bit less than last time. Okay. And I'm going to pull that and see if that's something I like. And if I need to do another layer, I can. This is what we've got for this time. My gift card is quite messy, so I'm just going to wipe it down. And remember, if you don't have a gift card, you can use anything really. I just find this will work the best because it's a little bit more sturdy and it's not going to damage the card, so you can still use it if you need to. So to take off the stencil, you're just going to very carefully peel off your tape from all of the sides. Be careful to make sure that it's dry, so you might have to wait a few minutes. Acrylic paint dries fairly quickly if it's not super thick. So we're gonna peel it off, and then it will be time for the grand reveal. I have a little bit of leakage through that you can see. So what I'm just going to do is very carefully with a wet paper towel, I'm just going to sponge that off. Your color leaks through a little bit. It's all good. You can wipe it off as long as it's still a little bit wet. So you don't want to leave it so it's completely dry, but just a little bit tacky. And it will come right off. If you're really not happy with it, it's not exactly what you wanted, that is okay. You can always just paint your whole canvas white and try again. I think what I'm going to do, because my edges aren't as clean as I wanted them to be, especially at the bottom here, is I'm going to do a background color. And I'm thinking I'm going to do kind of a minty green color, because I think that will complement the colors that I have. Okay, so you can see all the different colors in there, and it really bled just a little bit on the bottom here. So I'm going to be making my background color. I'm going to do kind of a minty green, kind of that teal color, just to pull it all together. If you wanted to, you could also just take some black or some white and do an outline color. That would be a good option too. You could outline your heart or your object to give it some dimension. But I'm just going to paint my whole background. Canvases can be really expensive if you go to like art supply stores, but you can even get them at the dollar store for very inexpensive. Only a couple of dollars for a decent sized canvas. All right. Yep, I like that a lot. I think that looks great. I'm just going to go over it one more time, make sure I didn't miss any spots. It's already starting to dry. Acrylic paint, which is what I'm using, dries very quickly, which is nice. You don't have to wait for a long time to do the last and most important part of any art project, and that is signing it. There's a book that I love to read to my students that's called The Dot, and it's by Peter H. Reynolds. And it's about a little girl named Vashti who thinks that she's not an artist and thinks that she will never be an artist. All she can draw is a dot on a page. And so she learns through just making a dot, there's so many different ways that you can be an artist and be creative. And she ends up creating an entire art gallery of art full of dots. So dots that are like polka dots, or even just things like this. There's something in there, so even just a circle like this would be really cool. But she says at the end, you're an artist if you sign your work. So that will be our last step once our paint is dry. So there is my canvas. I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to sign my name. So here we go. Here is our completed art project, and I hope that you enjoyed making it today. I hope you enjoyed using your creativity and trying out new things, even when you're not sure what the outcome is. I think that's an important thing to remember for all of life, not just arts and crafts. So thanks so much to Kids Up Front for having me for this project, and I will see you next week for our last craft video. Bye!